Hey there, fishing buddies and other YouTubers. So, got the boat here, but I'm not fishing today. I'm fixing today. So, my Livewell, it hasn't worked for probably about a year or so, and I keep on meaning to get around to trying to fix it. And so what I'm going to do is show you some of the steps I'm going to take to get it done today. One of the best investments you can make for yourself as a do-it-yourselfer is a multimeter. Illustration purposes, we're going to show you just how electricity kind of works. We're going to pretend that this lid is a battery that has a negative and a positive wire coming off of it. We're going to pretend that this bottle of water is a light bulb. So if everything is connected right, electricity is going to flow from this terminal of the battery, come into the light on this side, and then it's going to flow through the filament. It's going to light up, and then it's going to come through and hit the negative post. So it has to be a circuit. It's going to be a complete circuit. If you just had power going to this light bulb with nothing coming out the other side, you're not completing the circuit. It will not light up. It won't work. So you need to complete that circuit to make sure the electrons can flow through from your power source to your appliance. So if your battery is working fine, then you can test the wiring on this side to make sure you're getting 12 volts. If you're not getting the 12.5 or 12.9 volts, however, you might have a little bit of voltage loss in the distance, but it shouldn't be that much. But if you don't have it here, it means you have a break in the wire somewhere. If you do have power coming there or whatever, well, you might have a break in the ground somewhere else. Now with the Livewell, you have the battery and you have the Livewell pump. But there's also a couple things in between. We do have a Livewell switch to turn it off and on, and we also have a Livewell fuse. So in case there's a problem or a short and something like that, it's supposed to pop the fuse. So what you can do is you need to test if you have voltage coming into this switch, and then you want to click the switch and see if you have power coming out. You shouldn't have any power coming out of the switch when it's off. So when you turn the switch on, you should see it go to 12.5 volts. Now I did already take this off, and I figured out that yes, I do have 12.8 volts coming in and out of the switch. So if I turn the switch on, it's the Livewell switch is down here, but if I turn it on, I get the voltage. If I turn it off, the voltage cuts out. So I know the switch is working right, because it could be the switch that's a problem as well. So I know that the wiring from the battery to this switch is totally fine. To access the Livewell, it's just about the worst possible place. It's just that little hole right down there, and it's a brown and a black wire. Well, I did confirm it's a ground. How did I do that? Is I put I took the power wire, which is brown, and I attached it to the probe, and then I took the black probe and did to the black wire, and I was only getting 4.5 volts. So what I did is, I was lucky enough to reach, I took the black probe and put directly to the negative battery terminal, and it read 12.9 volts. So in essence, all I really have to do is connect the black wire of the Livewell directly to the negative post in the battery, and it should work. So when I say I'm hooking it up to the negative battery cable, what I mean is all the negatives are all right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of them that doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on there, and you can kind of see some corrosion there. So I'm going to take a wire brush to all of them, because believe it or not, that could even just be the simple problem. It's just corrosion right there on the ground. So I'm going to clean those terminals there and attach the new black end that I did here. Everything nice and clean and neat, and we'll see if it works. I'm going to lower the boat and make sure that my water pickup is below the water line, and we're going to test this out. Well, here is the moment of truth I've been waiting for, and it's not working. So here's where we're at. Turn the power on. The Livewell did not come on. I just assumed it worked because it's not that old, and it doesn't. And so I disconnected it and I checked, and I do have 12.9 volts going right to the leads of that Livewell pump. So this is the actual Livewell pump. And for 90% of you, if you got to this point and there was electricity going to the pump and it's not working, well, then chances are it's the pump. But one thing you can do is you can remove this pump. This one, you just press a button right here, and you pull out this cartridge, and it'd be locked into like the housing, and you just pull it out, and you can test this. Now, the reason why I say to test this is because if you turn the switch on and this spins, which mine actually does, then you don't need the Livewell pump. You've got a different problem. So if you pull this out and it's not working, you know you have electricity going to it and it's not working, well, then you can maybe try to fix this or whatever, spraying some WD-40 or some type of oil or something like that to get that rotating again. And for sometimes that might be all it takes cleaned out, or you can unclog it. Or you might have to replace it because they do burn out. Now, when I pulled mine out and I turned on the switch, mine actually spins. So I no longer have an electrical problem. I fixed that ground. The Livewell pump is working electrically, but I'm not pumping water. 90% of you, you're going to get to this point and everything's going to work just fine. But in my case, it's not. So we have to troubleshoot a little bit further because I have more than just that one electrical issue. So I have a water flow issue, not an electrical issue at this point. So there's a couple things you can do. First of all, you do the obvious, and you make sure that this, it's hooked up to a seat cock usually. If it's just going through your through hull, then it doesn't apply. But I have a valve on mine. Make sure the valve is open. The other thing is make sure that this is sitting below the water line, because in order to suck in water, it's got to be below the water line. So I did those things. It did not help. The other thing I did is I primed the pump. So up in the Livewell, there's an aerator. I took that off and I stuck the hose through there to fill up the water line with water, and turned that on. It didn't work. And then I drove the boat in reverse or whatever to force water and thing. It still did not work. So I do have a water flow problem, and the reason why I went out and purchased this and why I think this is a problem is I think I have a unique situation that when I take this out and I turn the power on, this spins. But if it's sitting in the housing and I turn the power on, I can't hear it at all. And I should be able to hear something. And so I think there is something that is inside here that is preventing the motor from spinning. Now, there's not a whole lot there for it to even hit, but I think what might have happened is I had a cartridge that had melted before. And so I think that potentially there's a piece of something that is preventing this from spinning. And I think I have a unique problem like that. And in order to test that or whatever, I'd have to take out the old one and inspect it. And you can actually even like have it and stick in a bucket of water and see if it pulls water out through the system. But if I was going to go with the problem of pulling this out and doing that, if I had a problem with it, well, then I'd have to go to the store and buy another one anyway. So I did end up buying one, anticipating there's a problem, because it just makes sense to me that if the pump works when it's out and then I put in here and it doesn't, and like I said, I can't hear it, then that's why I think the problem is somewhere in here. So I'm going to change this out and we'll see if that's a problem. Clearly hear it coming on. And it is working.